We need to expand voluntary, high-quality pre-K opportunities to all at-risk children in Tennessee and take full advantage of all available federal funds for pre-K. And the Commission is most focused on and concerned about at-risk children, but eventually it would be very good to have a voluntary pre-K program for all children in Tennessee. We're very pleased in the past few months the state has submitted an application for federal funds for Metro Nashville and Shelby County for pre-K. And here with us today to talk about the importance of pre-K and current efforts in Nashville is Lisa Wiltshire, who is the Director of Early Learning Innovation for Metro Nashville Public Schools.
Good morning. Thank you, Linda. I am delighted to be here to talk about pre-K with you, and I want to echo Mary's sentiments in appreciation for the work of the Tennessee Commission on Children and Youth. We admire your work and are grateful for it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we know about pre-K. First is that there is a significant and dire need. Of 8,680 4-year-olds in Davidson County, and this is counts as of 2013-14, about 4,000 of those 4-year-olds are served in public programs. We do have children served in private programs, some community centers and private pre-Ks, but they are limited by capacity and funding. We have over 1,000 families on our waiting list just in metro schools, and now we've gotten sophisticated enough with GIS mapping and understanding projections for population growth, and we know there are certain places in our county, Davidson County, and in the state where families are growing and they don't have childcare, and they certainly don't have high quality early education opportunities, which severely limits our economic development. We know that we have a significant achievement gap in our schools. It is persistent, it is the thorn in our side, and it is what all of us are working so hard to diminish. The achievement gap I'm talking about is predominantly the one between economically disadvantaged students and their more advantaged peers. But we also have an achievement gap that's significant between English learners and native English speakers. And if you look at just Metro Nashville Public Schools, we serve approximately 80,000 students, and approximately 74% would qualify for free and reduced lunch or economically disadvantaged. That is the majority, vast majority of our students. 1 in 3 of the English learner students in the state are in Davidson County, and most of them are under the age of 5. So we've got a growing segment of the population where we need to get those kids on track, ready for school, prepared with a solid foundation. We know, at least in Metro Nashville Public Schools, we have 3rd grade literacy rates that are hovering in the 40% in terms of proficiency. That, for all of us, is unacceptable. We know that we have ever-increasing standards, whether they're Common Core or other standards. So school is more rigorous, which it should be, but that's just all the more reason to get our kids prepared. And we know that 3rd grade scores are predictors for high school grades, for dropouts, for suspensions, for teen pregnancy, incarceration, and certainly college-going rates. So once our kids get behind, it severely limits the chances that they have in life. It costs taxpayers millions of dollars, and we have the lost potential of many human beings. Now, what we have learned from looking at successful pre-K efforts across the country is that it is best to invest early rather than remediate later. They matter, and they do have an impact in terms of short-term benefits for students as well as long-term benefits that last through students' lives. We know that the earlier we intervene, the better, and the longer. That kids that are in pre-K programs for 2 years versus 1 have longer lasting benefits academically. We know that those programs that have the highest impact have some core kind of foundational principles. They focus on academic and social emotional skills. They have a rigorous curriculum. They focus on family supports and interventions. That is very important and critical at this age. Just as we want to intervene with students early, we definitely want to intervene with parents and get them empowered and supported. When they have strong supports for teachers and coaching, and when they have rigorous requirements for teachers as well as ratios for student teachers. These programs really make a difference. We know, as we heard before and we've seen in this report, the impact of toxic stress is significant and long-lasting. And if we have programs that focus on social emotional skills, and when we say that, we mean work-related skills, being able to pay attention, being able to focus, social skills, being able to get along with others and work in groups, resilience, perseverance, those are the pieces that in the Vanderbilt study and all the studies we've seen of quality programs have long-lasting benefits throughout kids' lives. So what are we doing right now? In the education community, we're very focused on increasing access for students and improving the quality of our existing programs. In Davidson County, we've started a pre-K initiative. Our superintendent, about a year and a half ago, put a stake in the ground and said, we've got to do something about getting our students ready for school. We have many students that are coming in unprepared. So we're going to expand pre-K. But we're going to do this by keeping the focus on quality. And to do that, we're establishing some new model programs. This is primarily where my work is centered. And these are brand new preschools that are all preschool. They're called Early Learning Centers. Our local taxpayers provided a $5 million investment for this program. And the purpose of these is to define quality, to set up some hubs of innovation where we can try out some things educationally and really define what are those things that make a difference. We've partnered with Vanderbilt to study this. They're studying everything we do and coming back to us with reports. And a lot of that work is based on their statewide study as well. And we're looking at what's happening in kindergarten, first and second grade, because what we have seen is we have a catch-up effect of many students, so that the gains that we see in pre-K aren't necessarily sustained because there is a catch-up effect. So what we're doing is looking closely at changing those instructional practices in kindergarten, first and second, so that those gains are sustained through time. But make no mistake, there are significant gains, and they are the highest for English learners and economically disadvantaged students in pre-K. We're partnering with the State Department of Ed. You've heard a little bit about our grant. We applied for a grant in partnership with Memphis. So we've got a lot of collaboration going on right now, learning from one another about what works. We are developing many partnerships because there is no one entity or organization or system that can tackle this alone. This really requires efforts by public schools, private providers, nonprofits, businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, certainly the legislature and policymakers, as well as private funders and foundations. We've got to work together to really solve this systemic crisis and really put all of our kids, regardless of circumstances, on a path to achieve success. And I'd be happy to take questions at the end as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. It's very exciting to hear about the things that are happening in Nashville, and it's also very compelling to listen to some of your data about how important it is we invest in these young children. We know, as you talked about, the disadvantage gap from a report that the Annie E. Casey Foundation did a year ago, that Tennessee has one of the largest gaps in the country between disadvantaged children and children who are in more comfortable circumstances.